Muy buena vida. Bienvenido seas. Good morning and a very good life. So today is Friday, and every Friday, as you already know, we have our live streaming in English so we can get to as many people as possible. I remind you that we are having this live transmission from Guadalajara in Mexico, and we are the University of Love and Knowledge, or UNCOA, UNCOA, and we are located in the street of Francia in the number 1764. So I'm just going to give you our WhatsApp number so you can contact us, send us any message, any question, anything that you may want to share. So the number is 3320554690, and I hope you take the time to communicate with us. So every day we are here trying to do this live streaming from this university that we have created a long time ago with the intention of helping others begin, start, and work on the path that we started quite some time ago. This has been a path that we have been building for ourselves through investigation, through research, trying to find the knowledge of the universe, the knowledge of ourselves. Why? Because we know that human beings have been very focused on finding whatever lies out there, trying to understand whatever lies out there in the universe, in the world, within other people. And they have lost and wasted their time because they haven't taken the time in order to learn more about themselves. So this is what we did. We were wondering how come human beings were always questioning where to find happiness, where to find peace, where to find harmony, where to find everything that was going to give them the answers they were looking for out there. So human beings, man, we're looking at the stars from a very early time, even from the time we were living in caves, trying to find the answers. And we have already decided that a lot of the things that we are trying to understand could lie in other planets, but man have lost a lot of time forgetting that the most answers and the most important things they should find in order to be able to know what real happiness is lies within themselves. So this is what we're doing. We are helping you, and we're inviting you to become part of this path of research, investigation, study, in order to understand yourselves, to understand ourselves, to understand and to begin in the work that represents the knowledge of oneself. And I want to thank you because of the opportunity that you give me to communicate with you from this place where we are. We are a very small place. We're a very small school, but we have a lot of information, and we would like to share with you. Everything that we share, everything that we teach, everything that we communicate in these live streamings, in our courses that we teach, in our workshops, in our lessons, in everything that we do here is found throughout a lot of research, as I said before. This is not something that we just invented, created, or believe in. This is not something that we found because we thought it would be faith, or because something that you must believe without looking or without seeing. On the contrary, what we are doing is we have been working very hard in order to have a sustainable answer that we can support through science, because men are built with a lot of information that might seem something that we should believe without seeing. One time when we were explaining what feelings are, and we were saying that feelings cannot be seen, nonetheless they exist. Thoughts cannot be seen, nonetheless they exist. We know that they are, and they can be explained through science. That is the reason why we have all these sciences that study human brain, human feelings, human emotions, human states of mind. Why? Because it is important for oneself to understand what lies within us. So everything that we share with you has a scientific background. When we find the information, we receive the information, what we do is do a lot of research in order to be able to explain and tell you how this works. So now that we're talking about this, something that I want to talk a little bit about today is about the soul, because we are always thinking that our soul has no explanation, and we're always thinking that our soul has to do with something that is religious or spiritual. Well, throughout quite some time, we have been researching what the soul is. The soul is the energy that lies within us, and a lot of people could think that it is, or it means something that is religious or spiritual, because you can relate it to God. But if we give it another explanation, a more scientific explanation, we will find that from the moment of conception, from the moment a human being is conceived, he receives this information from mom and dad and becomes the person he is. You don't even need to wait until the moment when the person has a brain, when the person has a heart, when the person has a spine, ears, in order to listen, to feel whatever emotion the mother is feeling and whatever emotions are in the surroundings, in the environment. So that is the reason why a lot of scientific experiments in psychiatry and psychology can explain how people remember events that happen even from the moment when they were in the mother's womb. And when they do this, let's say, for example, there is a very well-known psychiatrist, Brian Weiss, who did a lot of experiments using a technique that is that is very well known as hypnotic regression. And so what he did was find out throughout a lot of research, and this is research what he did, and he has written a lot of books, where he found out that people would recall things that happened even before they were born. How can we explain if someone remembers something that happened even before they were born, even before they had ears, even before they had eyes, even before they had an interaction with their parents? I remember one time I read about a story of a young man who had a very bad relationship with his father. And he had no idea why he had a very bad relationship with his father, but what he knew was that he had some sort of a rejection that he felt whenever he was near his father. For quite some time, the mother was trying to help the relationship get better, and she couldn't find a way to help either of them. So, throughout his life, he always felt that he didn't like his dad, and there was no logical explanation for these feelings he had. So at some point, the mother takes this young man, to a psychiatrist. When he starts working in therapy, at some point, he goes under hypnosis, and they do some sort of a regression during the hypnotic state of this person. So during this process, he was telling a story in which he said that he remembered that when he was little, the father had pushed the mother in some aggressive way, and he described the moment perfectly, with detail. He said, my mother was standing on the stairs, and then my father approached her, and then he gave her a push, and he was very aggressive about it, and they were arguing, etc., etc., etc. When the mother was confronted with this information, and the psychiatrist told her what he had seen, and he said this could be an explanation, she couldn't believe what she was hearing, because she said this moment or this situation happened when I was pregnant. He wasn't even born. How could he remember the feeling, the words, the complete experience that the mother had lived when he wasn't even there? The doctor thought he had been little, but then she said he wasn't even born when that happened with his dad, I'm sorry. And she explained that from that moment on, the relationship, and when he was born, the relationship with his father had been a good relationship, but she didn't understand how come he had never loved his dad. He had never liked his dad. So this was the explanation. He remembered a situation that was traumatic at the moment when he was still in his mother's belly, in his mother's womb. So there are a lot of things that happen in the moment of conception, in the moment when we are still inside our mother's womb, that we don't even have a recall of what happened. There are a lot of situations that we are feeling, living through the same feeling, through the same frequency that our mother is living when we are inside. And also, at the moment of conception, we are inheriting this mental information that makes us who we are. And this information, these files, these archives, mental influence that we get from our parents, even from our father, who, even though we are not inside our father's body, we're inside our mother's body, we're feeling whatever she's feeling, still the whatever our father has, it has an influence in us. So at the end, when we are conformed as a human being, what happens is that we get all the ancestral information from our mother and my father. All these files have an energy that is imprinted in me as a person. I become a human being, I become a person at the very moment in which both cells get together to make a person, as I was saying. So what happens is that even from that moment, even if I'm not conscious about it, I already have all this inheritance that will make me who I am. The most important thing about it is that that's the moment in which I already have a soul. And this soul, if you want to call it that way, is conformed by, in part, by all of these files, all of this magnetic information that I'm starting to build for myself. When I'm born, then I have the possibility to continue to add more information to this same process, in which I have the possibility to continue to experience and feel and live and see several kinds of things. So what happens is that this continues to have an influence in the frequency, in the magnetic field that I am building for myself. So what I'm trying to explain to you is that your soul is a magnetic field within you, built by the genetic information that you get even from the moment you were born. But this genetic information is not only conformed by the genes that give you the color of your eyes, the color of your hair, maybe the way you sleep, maybe the way you talk, maybe some of the habits you have. And a lot of times parents say, I have no idea how come even when he was little and he had never seen his mother or his father eat or sleep, he started imitating those. Why? Because all that information is within the cell, within the genetic pool that you are getting from the beginning. Even sometimes people tell stories in which they say, well, his father left when he was a baby. They never had contact. He never had interaction with his father. Nonetheless, he is exactly the same way. Eats the same, or I don't know, cries, sneezes, walks, or has even eating habits that are very similar, or desires the same as the father or the mother. And sometimes they say, well, he was abandoned by both his parents, but still he's exactly the same. Why? Because you have this genetic information. Now, the genes not only have the information that makes you who you are physically, but also energetically, mentally. It has a very big impact in you. And so I'm just gonna take a moment to say hello, to say hi to the people who are watching, and I just want to thank you. So there was Ángeles Zamora, Berta Quesada, Edgar Leiva, Juan Jose Alejandre is there listening and watching, Karina Selene Corona. Thank you guys, because you are giving us the opportunity to share. Juan Jose says, hi April and Luis, good afternoon. I send you a big hug from you, from Luis, and from me to you, Juan Jose. Thank you because you are always making an effort to watch and to send your greetings. It really makes us happy to know that you are trying to watch us in English, in Spanish, and in every language we're trying to communicate with you. Very soon we're going to be doing it in French too, so be prepared. I hope you're ready already. So, this is what I'm trying to explain to you. Everything that makes who you are is not from this moment. It's not only physical. When I talk about genes, it has a lot more to it than just the physical information that you might get. Your genes not only contain the information that gives you the nose that you have, or the height that you have, or anything that make your physical appearance. It has a lot more. Also, we get from our genes our diseases, and then you have certain conditions, and that's scientific. You go to the doctor and they say, is there a risk of cancer in your family? Is there a risk of heart attack in your family? Hypertension, diabetes, epilepsy, a lot of different conditions that you may get from your parents. Even if your parents do not have those conditions, a lot of times they ask you, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, someone in your family has this kind of diseases. Well, the same way that we can inherit all these physical characteristics, we also get the energetic, we also get the magnetic information that makes us who we are. And so you may be wondering, if I'm already doomed to be who I am, or who the way that I was built by my parents, by my family. And when I say your family, I'm talking 3, 4, 6, 10, 20, 50 generations behind you from the beginning of the story of your family. All those give a certain information to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and it doesn't disappear. So if we go all the way back, might be 4,000, 5,000 ancestors, 5,000 ancestors before you, they all gave you a small part of the information that makes you who you are. Now, the most important part to understand is that you chose to be born in this family because it would give you the perfect opportunity, the exact characteristics to learn and understand something that you were looking for. So this means if I was very violent in my past life, maybe this time I need to be born in a violent family in order to understand violence and then make the change. It might sound kind of complicated to understand, but it's real. Why? Because this is what we're doing. We are being born over and over again in order to learn, in order to love more, in order to serve more, in order to be humble. How are we going to get there to the greater plan, to do whatever we're meant to be? Well, we're going to get there by experiencing, by learning, by working, by researching, and trying to understand our own self. The thing is, in this case, for example, when I don't understand the fields that I built for my own self, when I am always trying to understand what happens out there with the rest of the people, why are they the way they are? Why don't they act the way I like it? Why aren't things the way I want? What happens is that my attention is focused in whatever I want others to do instead of focusing my attention in what I need to do for my own self. How can I learn and change if my attention is not on me? And it might sound selfish, but it's not in a selfish way. It's in a very intelligent way. The opportunity that I have to be in the constant observation of my actions, my words, which create the fields where I move, which creates a magnetism. Whatever words, feelings, thoughts I have make me move in this field where I am. So what happens? Let's say it in a different way. Let's imagine there was an example that I remember one time. There was a teacher that used to say that, well, the brown cows like to be with the brown cows, and the cows black and white like to be with the black and white cows. Well, the same thing happens with us. So I don't know if you have noticed that people who have the tendency to like to party a lot, they usually somehow find people who like the same. who like to party, people who like to study a lot. For example, if you look at schools, people who like to study a lot get together with others who like to study. Why? Because you have a specific magnetism that attracts that kind of people to your life. So what happens is that we build fields in which we move. How? Because we have the opportunity to interact with others who have the same tendencies. Why? Because there is an attraction towards them, even if you are not aware of it, even if you're not conscious. Well, sometimes you will say, well, we just met and we clicked and we get along, and that is the reason why we are friends, all of us. Well, the reason you guys are friends and you get along and you clicked and you feel okay with each other is because you have the same tendencies. So what happens is that you get together and you notice that there is certain agreement, that there is something that flows easily. Why? Because you are vibrating in the same frequency. You may think, well, it's easy to explain. We like the same things. Why do you like the same things? Did you know that you like the same things before you got together? Probably not. There are people that I have met in my life that I didn't know that they like the same things. We just met apparently by chance, and then we noticed that we were thinking about the same things. We had the same tendencies, we had the same hobbies, or we had the same ideas. So what happens is that we have the opportunity to get together with those people because there is an attraction. There is a magnetism that attracts them to you or you to them. That's the way it happens. So that makes you question yourself and think, what are the kind of people who are around me? If I don't like the people that are around me, then that has more to do with me than with them. And sometimes we are always complaining about the people or the situations or the things that happen to us, and we have we are not aware or conscious about the fact that whatever is happening around me has more to do with me than with the outside. So if the people that are with me make me feel bad or somehow are not the kind of people that I want to be with, well, that's because there is something that I decided in order for me to learn. There is something that I decided they had for me to observe, to learn. If I don't learn this lesson, what is going to happen is that this is never going to change. What I need to do in order to change this environment, this situation, this reality, is start learning and deciding what are the kinds of people that I want around me. What are the kind of situations that I need to have in order to find true happiness. So what I'm going to do is start learning more, but not about them, more about me. So you might be wondering, what does this have to do with the soul? It has to do with the situation in which your soul is composed, is built by this magnetic field that you build for your own self. Although we might think that the soul is something that is beautiful, that is something special, spiritual, the reality is that the soul that we have built for ourselves is not that way. Why? Because it is directly related to the state of mind that we are in most of the time. So we are usually thinking about negative things, about criticism, about selfishness, about all those negative ideas. So if the idea, sometimes we explain and we said the most important part is the idea is like the queen, because the idea is what starts everything else. The idea, which has a frequency, which has an intention, gives you the possibility to go into a specific energetic field and then take it into action. So if you have a beautiful idea, then you have the possibility to turn it into beautiful actions, beautiful thoughts, a beautiful magnetism. If my ideas are negative, if my ideas are sad, if my ideas are aggressive, what are the kind of fields that I'm going to build for myself? This means if I am a serial killer, that's the kind of life that I'm going to have, and that is the kind of people that I'm going to be relating to. If I am a drug addict, I will probably find more drug addicts who like the same. If I am always thinking about serving others, helping others, loving others, I will probably encounter other people who like to do the same. How does this happen? Because that is the field that I am building for my own self, and that will also explain the reason why I am always placed in these sad feelings, negative feelings, angry feelings, because this is the magnetism that I have built for my own self. This is the field that I move in. And this can be explained through science. This can be explained through physics, because it is a reality. So little by little, we need to start comprehending, understanding better what makes us who we are, and why the things that happen to us have to do with our own self. Doesn't have to do with the exterior. It has to be with the interior, with whatever lies within me, with my thoughts, with my feelings, with my ideas. So let's make it simple. After talking about magnetic fields, after talking about frequencies, after talking about genetics, if you want me to simplify it, whatever you think, whatever you feel, that is what is going to give you the reality that you build around you. If you want to change your life, you need to change your own self, not the outside. We're always looking for a way to change others. I would be happier if others did what I wished. I would be happier if things were different on the outside. Things are the way they are. The only thing that you have a power to change is your own self. So that is the invitation. Start understanding who you are, why you are that way, and then also having the knowledge about why things are that way, why you decided for your own self. You are the only responsible one for whatever life you have. It was your own decision. It was your own project. It was your own plan. And the only one who can change it, move it, alter it, or do something totally different for your own self is you. So that is the reason why we are always trying to teach you and help you understand. And even our own selves are working in understanding our own selves, even if I'm repeating the same phrase. That is exactly the work that we do, trying to understand in order to change our life. But we only can have the power over the life that each one is trying to have, to conform, to live, because my plan is personal. And even if I don't like anything the others do, the only thing that I can change, control, is myself, because my evolution is personal. It's something that I planned for myself, and I am the only one who can do something about it. Even if they live in my house, even if they are my family, even if they are my life partner, my husband, my wife, my children, my parents, they have their own project, personal life project. And I can only control my own, because that is the purpose of my life. And so I thank you, because you give us the opportunity to share these live streamings, these capsules in which we share knowledge, in which we share the research that we have been doing. If you have any questions, if you are watching if you're watching this streaming, even if it's not during the live session, you can also send your questions, submit your questions through any means. You can do it through Facebook Messenger. You can do it through WhatsApp number, or same here in the streaming. Even if it's not during the live streaming, still we will look at it. And even if we can't answer it right there, we will answer in the next streaming. If it's in English that you are leaving your comment, well, we will do it every Friday, and then you have your answer. Or, I don't know, if it's very important, we will send you a voice note in order to give a response to whatever you want to know. That is what we're trying to do: communicate with the world, establish a dialogue, because mankind needs to be connected to the superior mind that lies within all of us. And so That is the reason why we are doing this, because we are hoping, we are wishing that you have a wonderful life. We are hoping and wishing that you find happiness within yourself. And that is the reason why we always say that we hope and we wish for you a very good life. Thank you.